Okay, sorry about that. It's just I decided to go live because I was doing something supposed to be at work per usual, but as you already know, I do follow my heart and the understandings and apply, apply the lessons that I'm learning for myself. And part of learning, which is what's coming through on this download that I'm writing about. So you take action. So you approach. This is the way I'm doing it. I'm approaching everything like it's new to me, and then I act on it, on that new information. No matter if I know anything about it, it's just a new territory. Then I take action on that information. Then I study it. Then I decide to go into it, and then I teach it. So this channel is about my own learning. This channel is about putting out what I'm practicing myself. So I'm learning to connect, right? That was the last video before the one yesterday on Dusty. That that I'm still at that same project. I'm not done with the dust, but I decided to take my lessons and put them into action. So here, I said I don't want to work. I don't want to keep doing this. So let me go to an hour away from my house. I said I'm gonna go and sit and write in the park and stuff. But I realized that I don't have to drive away and use gas that I don't need to when there's a backyard here. I don't have to go anywhere else to connect. You connect where you're at. And so I took my shoes off. I'm still barefooted. Took my shirt off, put it back on to do this video, and I sat on the sun and I quieted the mind and I connected. I connected with this beautiful earth, and I could hear the birds clearly. I could just connect in a beautiful way, and more wisdom came to me about this job as I'm sitting there and I'm in my mind. I know what I could do is different than what I did yesterday, and it's gonna speed up the process to finish project. But if I didn't take that time at first, I'm like, well, this is silly. My time when if I'm gonna stay here, I'm gonna work, and that's one of the first thoughts that you should be working right now. But then it was like, no, this is no shoulds. Just do what your heart is telling you to do, and that's sit and connect with the earth and allow for that peace to be, and I was at peace, but now I'm at more peace because I took that understanding and put it to action. You see, I get a lot of comments and I do a lot of one-on-ones with different people, and what always makes the difference between those who accelerate and those who stay still, and I've been in both camps, and there's areas in my life where I don't accelerate as much as I want to, and there's other areas in my life where I'm just cruising. But the difference is application. The difference is what am I doing with the information that I'm receiving? You can sit here and watch all this lives, watch all this information, all these videos, all this knowledge that turns into shit. If it's not applied, it's just there for future reference. When the time to apply what your heart is telling you to do is now. I have friends through this work that I do that they're in the fence of where to move next, what to do next, and is it really that important that you have it all figured out? Really think about it. Even I was talking to one of the ladies that I work with. I'm like, even if you have it all figured out, does it ever go according to plan? Does it ever? Doesn't matter how much plan goes into something, there is always different factors that don't go according to plan. So what do? We still gotta adjust. So instead of waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for everything to be perfect, why not following the understanding and let it take you to where it wants to or to where it has to take you. You know, we we planned this. There was all the planning, the majority of the planning was done before we even got here. We had better vision before we came into this forgetfulness. We had a way better vision, and we knew that we were gonna face different forks in the road where we are gonna have to either make this decision or this decision. All potentialities, but by sitting there waiting, there is no motion. So the video that I'm doing tonight, I'm shooting it tonight when I'm done with work today. It's about purpose, and I talked a little bit about it, um, in that last video I put out. But and I don't want to talk about purpose like everybody talks about purpose. I'm talking about purpose, how it's unfolding in my life, right? And my true understanding of purpose coming from not only the experience I have on this earth, but my studies throughout my existence. Purpose is nothing other than experience, to have an experience. So everything that you are experiencing at the time is the purpose. Why? Why do I have to experience this? Because it was intended for your acceleration, for the growth of your overall multidimensional being. When I suffer from depression in the past, I remember how hard it was to get up and do things. I remember like just having all the ideas in my mind that how am I gonna get out of here, but not an ounce of physical energy to go do it. I remember those days, and I kind of miss them. You know why I miss them? Because they taught me so much about purpose. Just because you're sitting there unable to move doesn't mean that that is not what you need to experience at the time. You see, we want to always experience the acceleration, the creation, the manifestation. I want this life to be beautiful and perfect. But there is no perfection. There is no set path to take. You will never walk that. You will never learn from my lessons. The only thing that you could do is find a little truth in your own experience, whatever it is that you're seeing around you, and see how that applies to your next experience. You see, if we continue to ignore the memories, right? The memories is everything that's stored in the brain. The brain is needed. Everything, all the contrast, all the polarity, all the duality, whatever you want to call it, that is experience has its intended purpose if processed correctly. So I'm like, okay, so if there's grass out here and I have shoes that I can take off and a shirt that I can take off to take more sun in and connect more with this place, why do I have to leave the job when I know I have to go ahead and do more work? So what I did is I incorporated the understanding that I had into my day-to-day life. Therefore, my purpose is fulfilled. I can provide for my family. I can meet my deadline. I can enrich myself in the process. And wisdom just was deposited into my experience because I apply a little bit of the lesson. Why it's important to connect to earth? Like the grass still wet. So there was pure water from the dawn entering my skin because the skin collects everything. I'm about to collect some dust in there, which is not great for the skin. But that water, that dawn, and that grass was information being sucked in through my feet into my body. The information that has it all covered. The information that knows the truth about you and me, that knew about this house, because everything exists within everything, right? That knew about my desire to not work here today, that knew about what I was going to collect when I put my feet on it. So if I would have not followed, so the message here is I'm learning to make the connection between the mind and the heart because it's one organ. So if your brain, the analytical portion of it, is saying something that doesn't match what the desired emotion is, then we need to stop for a second and really bring them both to the same place, from the place to the place of understanding and application. Can go all life learning new things, feeling that excitement of wonder. What if I applied that? What if I learned that lesson? What if all that wonder, that feeling, that excitement is telling you, hey, this makes sense. This is truth. Why not move in the way of truth? Because of habits. We have habits of thoughts and distractions that take us away from what we know is for us to do, right? You know, if you watch my content, you know that I've been visiting and I'm waiting for more disclosure to share something that is happening in my life. But I'm waiting, not waiting, I think I'm waiting because I'm taking actions towards more connection towards that. But there are some beautiful things happening in my life that I want to share with you because they're going to bring more clarity to our experience. But I am expecting something else that is about to happen really soon. And I'll share with you. This is my purpose, to follow the path of the heart, thought out without all this unnecessary planning. Because if one person is watching me right now, if one person is watching the repeat and understand how important it is to go ahead and incorporate your acceleration to every facet of life, I did my work. I came here to bring clarity for myself and to others. So if you are watching right now and you realize like, oh shit, I'm missing out on the action, take one small step today. And I'm gonna close out with this. There is something that came to me right now as I was writing before because I stay in the truck writing, um, collecting information, downloading before I even came back here. And the lesson was about energy management, about humility, about moving away from arrogance. The way we move away from arrogance is by allowing our vulnerability to open to new experiences, being open to saying, know it all. Arrogance say, oh, I got that. I already know that. It doesn't matter how much you understand the topic, there's always more depth to go into it. So, a great way to apply something today, you're going to take a very strong emotion that is in your heart about a situation. And the way you are going to transmute that energy is by educating yourself, educating your your body, because your soul already knew how to do this, but educating the physical into energy transmutation, changing energy alchemy, mastery of energies. So what you do with this new, with this old feeling is you're going to look at it like it's not your situation. So let's say, like for example, I'm gonna use my example. You know, I got sexually abused when I was really, really young, and that brought certain aspects of fear into my life. So I can go to that situation and look at it from the outside. Like I'm going to sit in that dark room where this, you know, people or and children were having this orgy, and I'm going to sit in that room and see me there. And I'm going to look at that situation from an outside perspective. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna exit the 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 actual experience. You're gonna exit it, and you're going to look at it like it's new. Like you just enter this place and this is happening. So you're in shock at what's happening with this kid. I'm in shock first, right? Oh shit, what's happening here? These are children, and I suppose this is not the way nature intended it to be, because they're not ready. Their innocence doesn't allow them for them to experience this without hurting them, right? So that's the first thing. Then I look at it and I can zoom in on little Hector. And regardless of what the old information is telling me to look at it from a place of fear and from a place of disgust and shame, I can look at it differently from my mind today, right? So what you do is you act on that new, so you act on it. The step two, after you take it as a new experience, you're gonna act on that new experience. So I'm gonna look at it, instead of looking at it like with all that fear and stuff, I'm going to act as if I'm still here. Like I'm whole today. I healed from that. So I'm gonna look at it like it is today. If I didn't experience that, I would have not understood this about myself and that about myself. So I can look at it from a place of, oh, that wasn't beneficial at the time, but I turned it into something beneficial. I can look at it as in, you know what, the other kids in that experience can also have healing through my new vision of that whole experience. And then you study it. You go deep into that new feeling of empowerment. Like, yeah, that situation back then meant that, but today it means empowerment. Today means an experience that I overcome, and now I'm sharing with y'all. You see, and then you go deep into that empowerment feeling, that compassion that I feel for those older kids that were also ignorant, and that compassion that I feel, and you go deep and you study compassion. Then you go into a book and you read about what is compassion, right? Compassion is suffering together, seeing their pain and being able to empathize with that pain. Empowerment. You go and you read what's empowerment. What empowerment means, that I can take a situation and change my mind from to it and become powerful because of it. Unconditional love. You could go down the rabbit hole and then take your time to study this new understandings towards the same situation. Once that change you, because that's what's gonna do. It's going to change the past. Excuse me. What that's gonna do is going to change the past. I promise you, it will change everything about that feeling. Now you are the master of your creation. Now that which held you back in fear, that held me back in like relationships, connection, vulnerability, sexuality, it held me back. It really did. I was a little kid. I wasn't supposed to be in that room with all these kids, having sex with older kids, and knowing that that was in my place, but I still engaged, living something that I wasn't ready for at the time. It really affected me. I promise you, it affected me. But if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be able to empathize with so many people that go through that, because the attack on children is prevalent. Like the system is set up to take the innocence out of the kids early in life, right? So I know I know that a lot of you, if not most of you, if not all of you, been through a childhood traumatic experience, because it's set up like that so that you forget early, so that you get out of innocence early, and then you're another machine of for this system, right? So now you study those new feelings about that same situation. You completely transmute that situation when you feel differently about it. That is purpose. That is learning the law of humility. The law of humility is like I can learn something new every day. I can approach every day and every situation and every all thought into a new one. Everything in our body, everything in creation right now, nature, all of these beautiful tiny little flowers, everything that you see around you is rejuvenating. It's being restored. Your cellular level is being restored. Everything is being restored around you. The easy part falls on all of us to restore our thinking. And we use every experience for that. That is purpose. Purpose is restore your energy making machine into serving you and those around you and all the earth. When I changed that experience, that I did it with you, that exercise, I just did it with you right now. The people, I remember their names vividly. I'm not gonna say their names, but all these 6 children that were involved in this, all some older and me younger and other younger, all the kids involved right now are being restored right this very second, because I changed. I One person changed the whole experience. Therefore, all of their experience is different. Believe me, that's how powerful you and I are when we take our power back. I love you. If no one told you that they love you, I love you. I know what it is to be abandoned. I felt abandonment. I felt rejection. I felt separation. I felt all these emotions that gave me an identity so off of what I was. And I'm so grateful for all of those. I'm so grateful for all of those experiences, because you wouldn't have BamHek in front of you. Somebody asked me in one of the comments, is like, what's heck? Heck is a short for my name, Hector. And Bam means by any means necessary. By any means necessary, I will accomplish my purpose. And guess what? It's getting easier. This is what it is. It's about the day to day. It's about the day to day. It's about the choice that I make to make this video. It's about the choice that I make to open the door for that lady and return that cart for that dude. It's about being unable to see what deceivers keep putting in front of us. I don't see it, bro. On, on God, I don't see this shit. I don't see the world falling apart. I see the world being restored within you, within me. I don't get to see that anymore. That is called transmutation. It's called, and I'm not better than you. You can recognize that today for yourself. And the miracle just happened. The miracle is happening as you listen to this. Every cell in your body is being restored. That's powerful. That's how powerful you and I are. I'm not seeing the comments. I don't know if there's anybody watching right now. I apologize if I'm not answering any questions. I'm using the back camera uh, of my phone, but
There is power within your makeup, within who you are. You're so much powerful, and all it takes is one awareness, one piece of little awareness at a time. This book that I'm downloading, and I receive it and I write it, and it comes wisdom, the wisdom of the collective that is sharing with me. It's got 7 books. It's got the book of unconditional love, it's got the book of friction, the book of awareness, the book of humility, the book of reciprocity, the book of creation, and there's one other book, right? And as I continue to receive this information, I realize how powerful a human is. You don't need to exit the body. You don't need to, you don't need anything other than awareness, other than saying, oh shit, I am that which is, which create. And then you start transmuting by your decision making. It's not monumental. It's not starting a YouTube channel and starting a nonprofit and standing and starting a movement. The movement starts in your cellular level and your awareness. When you wake up and remember, you say, "Oh shit, my emotions been captain." You will do that exercise. You will remember that it was time for you to address all this old slowing down emotions and turn them into accelerating and propulsion for this process. You and I are integral parts, super important parts of this process. Everything would have been different. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here with me. I love you so much. I'm just so excited to have a voice, to be able to speak still, and for this beautiful platform that allow us to just upload content. Please share, like, subscribe. I love y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Go get to work. Do whatever you need to do within that purpose.